Welcome to the SVK Media Network. We are super excited about today's show. Yes, it says it on the screen there. Saputo's in the house. So we are, you know what? Today's about specialty cheese, and I'm blown away by how many kinds of cheeses there are out there. And we have this amazing chef. I know he's kind of walking back and forth there in the green room, but I'd want to welcome Chef Chris to the show from Saputo. Chef Chris.
How's it going, Jay?
You know what? we're we are having a great day today, and I'm excited about learning about specialty cheese. And I think you've got some pretty cool recipes and ideas for us.
Yeah, we're going to do some cool things with some really cool cheeses. We're going to start off by making some mocktails. And people are like, what? Why are you making a mocktail when we're talking cheese? Well, I don't see any reason why cheese shouldn't belong in a beverage. I mean, there's sweet beverages and there's savory beverages, and when they're savory, they're great with cheese. And in our, it's February. A lot of people are observing a dry February or a dry January extended. So we thought, why not do a little segment about some mocktail options using all these specialty cheeses to really elevate them and bring them to restaurant quality drinks.
Yeah, because you don't typically see cheese with drinks and things like this. So I'm kind of excited about this idea.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. I mean, why not, right? Cheese is pretty good everywhere.
Yeah.
If you got a cocktail or a mocktail where it's appropriate, why not throw that in there just to add that uniqueness to it?
Yeah, you know what? It probably maybe kind of that, like you're going to do a Caesar, I think here.
Yeah.
And I think the cheese offsets a little bit of that salt maybe, because I like salt and cheese.
Yeah, a little salt balance, just to, salt's usually a good addition to a savory cocktail. So that's kind of the idea there. We're also going to get into a charcuterie board. We'll do some work with a cheese tower and some crostinis, which are a great fit for specialty cheeses. So lots of fun stuff to cover off today.
That's awesome. So we'll run a quick commercial and then let's get into this Caesar, or into these drinks, as we say. I'm excited about it, but we're going to run this quick commercial of Saputo's unboxing. So we'll be right back. The chef. There you go, chef.
All right. Some nice looking cheeses.
I know, hey? Like, how many different... There's going to be like millions of different kinds of cheeses out there. So many.
Yeah, well, the first one's pretty cool. This is I've already garnished the glass with it, as you can see here. This is my Caesar glass, but I've got I call it a charcuterie skewer. We've got grilled halloumi and some grilled sausage on there with olives and some tomatoes. Just grilled, and then you can keep that at the bar or grill them to order if you've got a little portable grill. Here we've got a non-alcohol version of gin, so I'm going to do a gin version.
Did you got a non-alcohol version of gin? That's pretty
There's
cool.
a lot of really cool non-alcohol spirits on the market these days, and I think it's really cool. I've tried all of them. Well, not all of them, a good number of them. And they're surprisingly authentic flavored.
Yeah.
Just zero alcohol. So you can still get and enjoy the Caesars and the martinis and all the cocktails that you've come to love without having to worry about your if you're trying to follow a dry January or a dry Feb or anything like that, or making some better choices for just in general. This is a great way to fill that void. So Caesar's probably the quintessential Canadian drink. It's really one of the things that we're famous for. And I obviously have some Clamato here that made in Vancouver, really good product. Mixed it with some of that non-alc gin. And there we go. So with a charcuterie skewer and some nice pickled beans in there, really great way to have that flavor that you all enjoy first thing on a Sunday morning.
Or on a Saturday night or a Saturday night.
Home.
Now, what kind of cheese was that again? So
that's the halloumi cheese. Halloumi is a cheese that's originates from Cyprus in the Mediterranean. It's famous for its ability to be grilled or cooked or pan-seared without losing or melting, losing any of its shape. So fantastic. It gets better when it's warmed. It softens. The flavors mellow out a little bit. It's quite a squeaky texture in your mouth. Really quite cool and unique. But just having the ability to grill it just makes it quite special for me anyway. So there's that. You can put whatever you want on the skewer. You could just do cheese. You could just add, the kitchen sink when it comes to whatever you put on your Caesar. I know some restaurants go nuts with what they want to garnish their drinks with. For me, that's nice and simple, yet very unique. And
now, chef, does the halloumi cheese is it salty or what's the texture like? Because I'm curious by this product.
Yeah, well, the texture's it's a semi-firm cheese. It's actually classified. I wouldn't say semi-firm, but maybe even just a firm cheese.
Okay.
Quite salty. Like I said, that squeak is the really unique characteristics that it has. And then, it's got a fairly sharp overall flavor. I use it a lot of times as a substitute for a burger. If you want to do like a vegetarian burger, you can do cheese burger. It's burger made from cheese, really. So what more?
You can make a burger out of this product.
Yeah, pretty cool, hey?
No way.
All right, so the next drink I'm going to make is a basil infused martini. So again, with the gin and then some fresh basil, I'm just going to muddle that with a little bit of blueberry cheese. Yeah, the cheese is going right in there. So of course, muddling is just smashing up the. Sometimes it's done with mint or other herbs, but you're smashing the leaves to extract the oils and the flavor out into your liquid.
Now, chef, is this blue cheese? Is it like a brie cheese and a blue cheese together? Is that kind of what it is?
We're going to get into that in a little more detail when we go and do the cheese board, because it's also there. But yeah, it's one of our specialty cheeses. It is a mixture of blue and brie, hence the name Blue Brie cheese.
Oh, okay.
Very cool product, as it is a blue cheese, but it's a brie cheese, but it's got the blue veins in it. So
yeah,
cool mix of the two.
Now, I do recall, because I late at night I read about cheese and I do all these great things. I love cheese so much.
Yeah.
This won the 2022 Silver International Cheese and Dairy Award. Is that right?
It's right. Yeah. Most of these cheeses that we're covering today have won an award one way or another.
No way. You know what? I'm looking at this on our notes. You're right.
Pardon me?
You're right. We're in presence of greatness when it comes to cheese.
That's right. All right. So beautiful basil flavors coming out on that.
What's it smell like, chef? Give me that smell. Tell me what it smells like, because that basil's got to be good.
It smells like a fresh basil garden.
Yeah, it smells good, though, I'm sure.
So there we go. Really cool mocktail, sorry. Again,
So
with non-alc gin. I'm just going to throw a little garnish on there. I've got a grape tomato that I hollowed out and stuffed it with the blueberry cheese and wrapped it in a basil leaf.
Nice.
A nice way to finish that cocktail off. And there we go. Number two.
So I've used have you ever heard of poppadoos? They're kind of like a tomato, but they're red and they're like a pepper. We used to stuff cheese into them as well.
That's a cool idea, actually.
Yeah.
All right. One final mocktail to do.
Okay, here we go.
So this is a old-fashioned mocktail version of an old-fashioned. I've got some Lyre's Highland malt, quote-unquote whiskey. Not whiskey, but I'll tell you what, it sure tastes like it. And it's non-alcoholic. It
Serious?
Blew my mind, absolutely. So I'll just start with a little Demerara sugar.
What was that sugar, chef? Sorry, I missed that.
Demerara
sugar.
Say that 4 times quick.
No,
Demerara.
not at all. Not at all.
Just gonna rinse off my muddler here.
And what else did you put in there? What was the last one?
So it's like an Angostura bitters. It's an old-fashioned, but it's a non-alcoholic version. Once again, these products are harder to find, but they are available. Bitters is generally, it has some alcohol in it, but you can find bitters that is alcohol-free. It still has all the same flavors. So that's your sugar and your bitters in there. And one thing I always like to do when I'm making an old-fashioned is use the right ice cube. Oh, it just flew out at me there. So a nice big cube.
I have learned so much about those big ice cubes, how important they are.
It is important. I mean, it helps to keep the ice from melting. It gets your drink cold, but it doesn't water it down. And that's
Who thought that many years that we figured that out later on?
Yeah. There we go. 2 ounces of our pretend whiskey. Just give that a little stir.
What's the aroma? Give me aroma. Give me the aroma.
It's amazing. So you've got smoke, a little bit of peat. You've got all the sweet and rich herbaceousness of the bitters, and then finish it off with a nice little cherry and cheese.
And cheese.
Wow.
So what'd you do there? What's that cheese? It looks different.
Wait a minute. I almost forgot about the most exciting step. I want to smoke this cocktail. So I've got a little smoking kit here. It's something new that I've gotten into is adding smoke.
Really?
So it's just a little sieve here. Put in a little bit of wood chips in there. Torch them.
Yeah, this is huge now, eh?
Just want to get that going. And
that's it?
That's it. Now the smoke actually is heavier than air, so you can see it kind of, I don't know if it comes up well on the camera or not.
Sure, lift it up so you can see.
But you can see the smoke actually cut, there's little wood and it's actually pouring down. And if you just let that sit for a minute or two, it'll penetrate into the drink and the liquid. So you have a smoky, delicious drink to have. And what's better with whiskey than smoke, right? And actually,
what year was the old fashioned made?
Oh, that's a long time ago. You're going to stump me on that one. But a lot of people will argue that is the original cocktail. Predates all other drinks. And
you know what? There's some controversy on this drink. There's like 1833, 1806, 1883, I think as well here. So yeah, I love that. That must smell good though. It must just be so good. So now let's bring that into the cheese conversation.
So
I've never had whiskey and cheese before, chef. But is that something that's got to be great flavors? It's like combine flavors together.
Divert a little bit and make you connect the dots for you.
Okay.
Something that pretty much everybody on the planet likes that's salty, smoky, and sweet. You have it with your eggs in the morning.
Yeah.
Bacon. Right?
So it's with a B, right?
Yeah. Salty, smoky, and sweet.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So why not add a little cheese to your mocktail to add that salty element and also the onion. Okay.
I like that. Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Got it.
There you go. We've got 3 very interesting mocktails to throw on your menu, to throw on your belly. There's the old fashioned with the cheese.
Yep.
So this is a baked cheese tuile. And then here's our basil blue cheese martini with blue brie cheese. And then, of course, the old favorite, the Caesar with charcuterie skewer. Good fun.
Love it, Chef. Love
Awesome.
it. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna break. You're gonna get ready for your next cheese board, right?
Yep, cheese board and crostinis.
We're gonna go cheese board and crostinis, which is kind of interesting. I'm kind of curious about that one. But right back. You only got 30 seconds. So you better hurry.
Oh man,
Here we go.
Just
Here we go. Be right back. All right, that was it, Chef. Just like that, boom.
Yeah, still moving, but I'm there.
You're still cleaning.
Yeah, cool.
Still cleaning. All right. So we're gonna do cheese board.
Well, we're gonna do crostinis first.
Okay.
Then we'll do the cheese board.
So what's the best crostini out there, like bread? Because I never know what to grab at the store.
Baguettes.
Yeah, that's it. Hey.
That's it.
Don't buy the pre-boxed ones, or do you buy the pre-boxed ones, or what do you do?
Well, it depends how fancy you want to be. I like to make my own because then you have to go over thickness and cook time and all that kind of stuff. But the box ones, they're pretty convenient and help you out in a pinch if you're looking to just speed up things a bit. But yeah, you want a nice, like this is a French baguette, so it's a very small diameter. That's what I like to stick with.
Do you butter it anything, Chef, or put oil on it? Or?
A little bit of olive oil, just spray it on before it goes in the oven, and then you can add a little seasoning if you like. Generally, I just keep it pretty blank canvas so that you can let the ingredients do the talking. So we're going to feature 4 different cheeses, 4 different crostinis, and they all come out of our specialty cheese box. So we've got the Cendrillon, which I'll get into in a bit, Soularier, the Blueberry, and the Cendre de Lune. All of these are award-winning cheeses. They'll be prepared in a very simple way, just so that we can basically have the cheese with an accompaniment and a garnish, and that's it. You don't need more than that because you want the cheese to do the talking.
Well, I was going to say this, and here's the thing that I put my hat on for the restaurateur and the chef out there. Why would you not be using award-winning cheese? Like, to me, that just adds so much value to your menu and your offering. Like right there, I would just use that on the menu. Award-winning cheese. It's the fact, and people Google it or they'll do what I'm doing and learn about it. And I think that adds such a nice story to your menu and to either a cheese board or even add it into like a sandwich or into a meal. Adding that world classification of winning like an award that big, that's huge.
So the answer is a question in itself. Like, I'm not sure why people don't use these more frequently because they are incredible products. Maybe it's just people are not familiar with them yet. So that could be one of the reasons. And I mean, from a restaurant's point of view, certainly as I think of my past years as a chef, they're packaged so conveniently and fairly, you can buy that specialty cheese box that has all of the cheeses in it, one-stop shop kind of thing. And they're all fairly small wheels, as you probably noticed. I'm putting them together. So this really helps you to facilitate, these kinds of ingredients without having massive quantities on hand at all the time. You have a smaller amount on hand that's more manageable.
All right. So chef, we have a surprise guest.
Oh, who's that?
The Rocco cheese guy is here.
All right.
So we can't turn his camera on and he can only hear us. So Rocco, welcome to the show.
There?
Rocco, you there?
I'm here.
There he
There
is.
you are. There you are. Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry. Apologize for the technical difficulties.
Well, that's all right.
No, that happens. Don't worry about that. We are talking cheese, Rocco, and I have like a million questions here while Chef puts these dishes together. But we were
Okay.
just talking about the importance of using all these award-winning cheeses on your menus. I see major value. Have you come across this where people use those like classifications or those awards on their menus to increase some value?
It is definitely when you can showcase the fact that. So here's an example of what happened way back in 2009. We entered our cheese, and you'll see it later when Chef Chris does the cheese boards. Um, the Cendrillon, a cheese that was very. I want to say that hardly anybody heard of the product. It actually won World's Best Cheese in 2009 at the World Cheese Awards event.
Wow.
And we were not able to keep up with that cheese ever since we got the accolade.
Wow. So Rocco, can you just step back just a little bit on this award thing? What is an award? Like, how do you get an award for winning cheese out there? Because that's like, I'm blown away, first of all, but I want to learn about that. Is there a process? Do you have to submit it? Is there like like a thing that you guys go to that they check the cheese out? Like, how do you get that classification?
Well, I
award?
believe we are able to submit any cheese that we and they're all done by category. So there you don't just throw in a goat cheese and it gets competing against just cheese in general. There are different categories, so there'll be one for goat, there'll be one for hard cheese, and you submit whatever you are looking for in terms of your offering, and they get judged on that.
Oh, wow. And there's got to be a lot to submit. Like, this is not just like 5. There's got to be a lot of, because the cheese is so big. And when I do believe, and I'm new to this, it's got to be a serious competition in a way to get that. You guys won world. Like, there's no one better than this cheese in this category. It's crazy.
No, but then you got to also remember too, like, okay, I mean, when you look at Saputo and all our offerings, there are other cheese companies out there, and many of them, and their offerings. So, just to keep it in perspective, even something on a small scale where, going through a cheese course and you're sampling all these cheeses, when you get through 4, 5, 6 of them at one sitting, I don't know about you. I love cheese, but then you get to the point where you're just like saturated. So
yeah. You don't taste anything, right, anymore.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's ever happened to me. All right, let's see if I can show.
That never happens, Chef.
Not okay.
Yeah.
I can't really tip it. Oh, you know what I could do to help tip it? Just hold on to these.
Are you gonna get fancy there?
So right down here, we've got the Le Cendrillon with some Manuka honey and fresh thyme.
Now, why honey, Chef? Why honey? Why honey?
It's just a pairing that goes really
Does
well.
Does it go okay?
The Cendrillon is the one that Rocco spoke of earlier. It's an ash rind, surface ripened goat's cheese, and world's best cheese, so worth a try. Down here, I've got the blueberry with a date compote and some green onions. The blueberry is the one we had in the cocktail.
Yeah.
And then we have Cendre de Lune with some microgreens and apricot chutney. And then Sur Laurier with some smoked salmon blocks and cumin seed. So a great little snacky thing to pass around as an hors d'oeuvre or a starter. It's a little fitting to do these kinds of things. That's why I like to keep it simple with just 3 ingredients on each crostini. You got your cheese, your garnish, and your pairing, and one bite sort of thing. So
now, Chef, if I'm ordering that in a restaurant, am I going to eat a certain cheese first out of those selections, or is there like a process? Eat this one first, and then this one, and then this one, or do I just go all?
That's a great question, and you tend to want to start with the milder cheeses first, so your palate's not blown on the first bite. With those ones, they're all pretty, they're on the mild side, so those ones aren't as critical. But when you're building a charcuterie board, that's something you definitely want to be a little more mindful of, is making sure that you have a good selection of cheeses from each category and from the flavor and body standpoint. So I'm going to move into the charcuterie board now, and for this one, I'm going to have 4 cheeses on it. We're going to have the bocconcini, which is obviously a soft cheese. So, or sorry, no, that's a semi-firm cheese. I always get that one mixed up.
Okay.
Soft cheeses are your bries and your camemberts. So,
I got lots of questions here, Chef, on this one.
okay, cool. And then
Rocco, prepare yourself.
Pacific Rock cheddar that's going to go on here, as well as some Cantonnier. So that covers all of our different categories of cheeses, from soft, semi-soft, firm, and hard. And then also from a color point of view, we've got a variety of colors and a variety of strengths. Like the Pacific Rock is considered a strong cheese. Le Bonaparte is a mild cheese. The bocconcini is very mild. The Cantonnier is kind of medium. So you want to have a little bit of everything, and just kind of look after, let people experiment with their palates and their combinations.
So I have a question for Rocco, Chef, while you get prepared there. Rocco, now the one cheese here, it says that, you got to tell me about this because I'm curious about this. This is vegetable ash covered. What is that? What is that? Like,
basically, what it is an assortment of charred vegetables. So it is edible. It's not something that you need to try and scrape off the cheese, and it does add a very distinctive component to the cheese. So if you were to look at one of the items that Chef Chris used in the when he was making the crostini, the Cendre de Lune, I mean, that's a triple cream brie. So when you look at a triple cream brie, you've got that high milk fat, you got that nice buttery overall flavor in the product, but then you got that distinctive black contrast to the cheese on the outside. And if you were to consume that with the ash, you get a very nice sharpness to it. You get a little bit of a bite. So for people who are triple cream brie, yeah, that's great. It's just a little bit too bland for me. This takes it up a notch to the point where you are actually able to enjoy the product, and it just adds a completely another component to the overall flavor profile of the cheese. And again, it's just derived from charred vegetables, so it is something that is completely edible and nothing that you have to be concerned in the sense of am I able to eat this?
And does it also affect the aging of the cheese and the speed at which it's aged?
I think, well, the one thing that you will see is that once, if you're letting that product sit, and unfortunately I don't have that experience because I don't let my cheese sit for too long. It does add a little bit more of a crust to the product, a little bit more firmer texture to the product as well.
Now, I have a question for you because now, Chef, in the video it shows a specialty box. Are these the cheeses in the specialty box that Saputo's has?
For the crostini sampler, yes. That was cheeses exclusively from the specialty box.
How many cheeses come in that box?
There's 6. I used 4.
Okay.
So,
but that's very handy for restaurants, so they don't have to bring in huge cases of each cheese, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting at. It's kind of, it allows you to have one SKU on your order guide.
Yeah.
And also to enable you to, keep your products more fresh because they're smaller wheels, so you're not worried about product going off. So yeah, that's a really handy way to get your cheese for sure.
Now, Rocco, this other cheese, it's one that bronze. You guys took the whole podium here. I'm noticing in 2022 is that you guys won the bronze, you won the silver. Now, the one here, it does talk about buttery flavors, and Chef mentioned high fat. Is it similar where we see high fat in a lot of food that typically has huge flavor profiles? Is that normal for cheese?
The cheese actually gets its flavor from the milk fat. So the more when you're talking butter, a product that is buttery, I mean that you get that actually from if you think of butter on its own, it does have that high milk fat in it, so it's very rich, and those kind of tones come out when you are producing it with the milk.
Okay, I've got more questions coming here. Now, chef, on the I think it was this Pacific Rock cheese you have there. I
Yeah.
saw you had to put a little bit of leverage into that cutting it. Is
Yeah.
that because there's a rind? Am I saying that right? A
Just-
rind around the cheese, or
It's just a firm cheese.
it's just a firm cheese? Okay.
Yeah. So the one thing that to note about that Pacific Rock, it is aged 6 months before we actually put it out to the consumers. So
No way.
that's-
6 months?
6 months, yeah. So that's why you get that hard texture on the outside, very much like you would. I mean, you think of like the Parmesan wheels, where they're aged for 24 months, perhaps. That you get that hard crust on the outside. So yeah, you are going to need a little bit of strength in order to cut through that product.
Now, can you eat that crust? Like, there's nothing wrong. I always have this question. I know.
No,
Oh, it's
on that particular product, I would probably say steer away from it because
Okay.
there is some it would really change the flavor profile on that product.
Okay.
You want to taste that interior. You got that little bit of nuttiness, that nice creaminess in the product, and that's what you get from the interior.
Perfect. Now, chef, I have to ask questions about bocconcini. I
Okay.
have so many questions because I always go into the store and I want to buy it, but I
Yeah.
don't know, like, does it go, like, as soon as you crack it open, do you have to use it right away? Because it's usually in, like, some sort of solution.
Yeah.
Do you keep it in the solution, in the brine? Do you keep it in the brine?
Yeah.
Or do you take it out? Like, how do you use this product? I'm fascinated by it because I love the taste.
It's cool. It's considered a semi-soft cheese, and yes, it is because of the brine. Well, not because of the brine. You should keep it in the brine because that's going to keep it from drying out and also allow it to stay fresher in your fridge.
Okay.
It doesn't have a terrifically long shelf life like some cheeses,
Okay.
just because it's not cured. And so yeah, you do need to use it fairly soon after you purchase it. But it's one of those cheeses that goes everywhere. It's pretty neutral flavored, mild, wonderful texture, and I wouldn't see a problem getting through a case of bocconcini any day. Similar to mozzarella fresca in that it's a stretch formed cheese. And you can see also, if you're looking at the charcuterie board, which is almost done, I just tore the bocconcini up. I didn't cut it, and that's I did that.
Okay, no, whoa, wait a minute. You did what? Because it looks cool. It's like you just ripped it apart?
I just rip it apart. And what that allows you to do is you can see all the strands of the cheese.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool presentation point for me on the cheese. It's called the pasta filata method, where you're stretching the cheese and putting it over and stretching it. That's what makes mozzarella so stringy. So in this case, bocconcini, same process, same pasta filata method. So you see that the curd stretches in the cheese when you rip it apart. If you just slice it, you don't see that. And I think that's an important way to present your cheese, is showing, that method that's been done to achieve that. So there you go. That's why I did that.
Now, chef, because you've been doing the chefing thing for a while.
Yeah.
What kind of meats would go good with this cheese? Like, are we looking at what kind of meats you got there?
Okay.
Like,
Well, good question.
That's a great. Yeah.
Follows the same kind of path of thinking that you would use for your cheeses, in that you're going to want to select meats that are soft, and then some that are firm, some that are strong, some that are mild, so that you have that variety. So in this case, I've gone with good old prosciutto, which always finds its way onto a charcuterie board for me. And then I've got some salami here, which is obviously harder and stronger flavored, and then a nice mild deer sausage there as well. So you kind of cover all your bases, and that way you allow people to kind of play around with what they like and find their own flavor combinations that work for them.
Is there a rule, like eat the cheese, then the meat, the cheese, like, and then throw in a grape?
People
There's
don't
no rule.
There's no need to complicate things with rules when it comes to that.
I don't know. I get nervous. I got all this different stuff coming to me. I don't know what I should eat first.
No,
because I'm just going to go to the cheese, to be honest.
Just have fun and enjoy it. It's funny how charcuterie. I guess it wasn't too long ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. All you could hear, nobody knew how to even say it, let alone find it on the This is weird word.
That's so true.
And all of a sudden, it's everywhere, and it's everybody's buzzword these days. Oh, charcuterie boxes.
So true though, right?
It's really something that caught on, and it's not going anywhere. It's especially now that we're post-COVID and into more of a open up kind of restaurant dining atmosphere. This is the kind of food that people will go back to share and to enjoy in each other's company. So why not get back into that?
Very cool.
So
what's that?
That's just microgreens. That's just a color thing.
Now, Chef, do you see a lot of charcuterie boards out in the Vancouver area there? You got to be everywhere.
Oh yeah, they're nuts. It's everybody's doing one. If you're not, you're silly. But I think it's one of those things that a lot of people will find them. They find their way onto a dessert menu for whatever reason. And for me, this is like cheese board's kind of that dessert concept. But for me, I don't have this anytime. This is a great starter. This is a great way to open your meal up with just get that palate excited and get all these different flavors going on and get ready for a good meal ahead. So there you go. That's kind of what I ended up with. There's, like I said, not really any rules with your charcuterie board in terms of presentation, other than generally start with your cheese. And I like to go kind of in a pattern so that your mildest cheese and then your next mildest and then your stronger and then strongest kind of work your way around the board. Once you've got your cheese laid out, add your meats and then fill in with all the other goodies, whether it's nuts, dried fruit, olives are popular, crostinis, all the breads and whatnot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What was that other thing, Chef, there, that by your hand there, that jar? What was that?
Yeah, that's some olives that I was going to put on, and I just I'm out of room, so.
Okay. I thought you were going to ask something else funky and cool there, but anyways, we're going to break because we got the coolest idea ever coming up next. But we're going to break for a quick commercial. It's only a quick one again, Chef, so you get a boogie. But we'll be right back with Chef from Saputo. Here we go.
Been through a whole lot, but we overcome. Enemies in our face, but we ain't gon' run. Never drift off course, always stay on mission. Won't slow us down, cause we way too driven. Yeah, we put in these 10,000 hours. You won't stop us, cause we got the power. Whole world is watching, and I hope they ready. From here on out, we are legendary. We ain't going nowhere. We'll be standing right here until the end of time. Till the end of time. We ain't going nowhere.
There you go, Chef. Welcome back, everyone. Chef, where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Hey, here I'm here.
You're all excited about the next one we're going to do this. Now, if you haven't seen this trend on TikTok or LinkedIn, I would say LinkedIn, TikTok, it's a TikTok trend. Chef is going to dance for us. No, I was joking. Is that he's going to really recreate what you see on TikTok right now on these butter boards. But Chef, you're going to do a goat cheese board. Is this right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do pretty flowers I got for you, Jay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. You pulled this out of your backyard, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm in Vancouver, so.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that shot.
No problem. So goat cheese board. If you haven't seen the butter board thing on TikTok, like Jay was saying, that's definitely a cool concept and trend that's picking up speed. And it basically is just somebody will take some softened butter, whip it in their stand mixer with some flavorings in there, and then just spread it out on a board with some garnish and serve it with bread. So it's bread on the garnish, your butter on the bread, you're spreading your bread in the butter. So kind of a reverse roll there. But cool.
You know what's interesting by this, Chef, is that like the butter board, so everyone's like, okay, like how big is TikTok? It has been shown. The hashtag of butterboard has been shown over 332 million times.
Okay, so
as of November 3rd, 2022, only a few months. Let's say 3.5 months.
That's something right there.
Isn't that nuts?
That is
332 times. So I always reference, and I want people to understand this. I look at TikTok. I see TikTok trends on there and recipes and ideas. you can take a lot of those ideas and tweak them for your restaurants. I tell you all the time, TikTok is a great marketing gift, is what I look at.
It's a marketing gift, and it's kind of a crystal ball too for what's coming, and so you can kind of get ahead of your competition. Having something on the menu, being first to market with something that's trending in someone's house, right? So
exactly. So, chef,
so
goat
we've
cheese.
taken this goat cheese or this butterboard concept and thought, why not do this with cheese? Because cheese is, I'd say cheese is a little better than butter for my bread. And then also with, summer's coming. It's already here in the West Coast, but it's coming for you guys at some point. So patio season, what do you think is going to happen to those butterboards when you're sitting on the patio in the sun?
Popcorn butter.
They'll probably get pretty messy. Or the goat cheese board it's going to hold up a little better in the sun. So I thought that might be a little point as well, just to point that out. So what I've got here is just some goat cheese that I've whipped with a Greek yogurt.
How much Greek? Like what was that? Like a whole bunch of yogurt, chef? Just a little bit?
It's about I would say about 20% yogurt and the rest goat cheese.
Really? How long?
Just until it's smooth.
That's it, eh?
And you can get fancy with it, or you can just do something simple, just a nice little smear on your plate. If you really want to get fancy, you can get a piping bag and pipe little tulips in there, or do all kinds of stuff. But the idea is, for me, this one is just about quick execution and being able to throw it out on a restaurant menu quite quick and easy. See, now look at these beautiful flowers. We'll just throw some of those on there. Most flowers are edible, surprising, but most people don't know that. But they make for a fantastic way to add color and just visual appeal to your meal. So
what's that? But what's that? What are you putting on there now?
Candied pecans.
Oh, my favorite. So, Rocco, I got to ask you a question on goat cheese.
Yeah.
Is there different kinds of goat cheese, like soft, hard, firm, all these different things, or is there different flavor? Like, tell me more about goat cheese a little bit.
Oh, the one thing I'd like to just say about goat cheese is that a lot of people who are lactose intolerant, in terms of what their body can or cannot consume. The one thing we did find, and I'm not saying that this is people who are lactose can actually have it. But what we did find was that people who were lactose intolerant and consumed goat or perhaps sheep were able to actually consume it and not have the ill effects of consuming it. So when it comes to variety, so you see one type that chef is showing. There's in terms of soft, there's crumbled, but then there's you'll see it in the specialty cheese box when we open that up. There's a cheese called Caprano, which is a cheddar cheese done with goat's milk, so you get that really nice snow white color to the product, a little bit of tanginess to it. And then there's products that have flavor infused, so you'll get like fig and balsamic vinegar, you'll get honey and vanilla in the goat cheese. So there's all kinds of flavored products that you can that are available. And then there's also ones that have like a topping with it. So there's like a soft goat cheese that comes with like a bruschetta topping, or for the seasonal time you can get one that's done with like a cranberry topping. So there's so many things that are available in way of goat cheese. So you're not just kind of stuck to your soft goat cheese that you see on salads or pizza. Many offerings that are out there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's often been kind of a bone of contention for me, is people just like, oh, I don't like goat's cheese. Like, well, have you tried them all? Because you probably just had the one chevre that is common in the market, but you haven't had all the goat cheeses. There's so many types. Really, it just is, all you're doing is replacing the milk with goat milk, right? So all the other cheeses that you see on the market can be made with goat's milk. So you like the Caprano, like Rocco was saying, that's cheddar, but it's made with goat's milk. So you've got a goat.
Really?
Cheddar. Yeah, it's so cool because it just adds a little different flavor.
Now, Chef Rocco, on this, how does this come How do we get this shipped? Is it a big box or is it like what comes in the case? Is it two logs?
Yeah, you can. The one that I made this goat's milk or goat's board from was two logs of 1 kilo each.
Okay, perfect.
Them in all different sizes and shapes, but that's kind of the food service pack.
How long's it last when you open it? Like, does it last a long time after you open it? You got to use it right away.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful to package it, wrap it up properly, and keep it cold. But it does last fairly long. I'm not sure exactly what the shelf life is on it, but it's decent. It's not a short shelf life on it.
Perfect. Now I have a question for you. Maybe Rocco will strangle me. Can you freeze this if you had to?
So no. Well, the thing, and this was coming up a lot during when COVID hit. People are trying to stretch out. They don't want to buy big quantities. We don't suggest you freeze cheese. But one
perfect.
Yeah, we honestly try to steer you away from actually freezing cheese, but we also understand that you can't just throw stuff away when it's still good. And if you are going to freeze the product, one little trick is that do not take it out of the freezer and put it on a kitchen counter and and let it thaw as quickly as possible, because there will be some the product may not perform as quite the way you want it. So what we've suggested was, if you are going to freeze a product, then make sure that if you are going to thaw it out, that you actually thaw it out in refrigeration. So take it out the night before, stick it in your fridge, and utilize it that way.
There you go. Because I heard a lot of that cheese freezing going on, like you said, through COVID. But I've always heard about it because pizza cheese, it's mostly pizza cheese is what I always heard.
Yeah, I guess it just comes down to, if it's a last resort, but definitely not advisable.
Chef, you gave me the poker eye look when I asked about freezing cheese.
Yeah. You just say that.
Yeah,
that's for a lot of things. Would you freeze your steak?
No, we did that last week. We talked about it. You don't do that either. So
you don't want to. If you don't have to, don't freeze it. It degrades the texture and the quality. You don't get the product in the way it was intended to be.
So this next thing you're going to do for us, Chef, this is called cheese towers. Am I right?
Yeah. So I'll just quickly show you this. So there's the goat cheese board, and I just tore up some sourdough. So it was just a matter of swooping it in.
Now you tore the sourdough up too? You didn't cut it?
Yeah, just.
Should I get you some knives? Do you need knives, buddy? So I love that idea too.
So yeah, the next thing and the final thing we're doing is the cheese tower, and this really goes more towards larger events like weddings and large groups where you could present a fairly good amount of cheese and not worry about having way too much out there or spending all this money on the cheese.
Yeah.
So this is whole wheel presentation. So we're gonna go with 4 layers. You can do 5-6 layers of cheese. But ideally what you want is similar to the way you're looking at your charcuterie board, you want to have different flavors and textures in there. Generally, you want to start the bottom layer with something firm or hard so that it supports the rest of the weight of the tower on top of it. But I mean, then it just comes down to stacking the cheese, garnishing it nicely, and then you just have it out for your event. And I've seen it a few times through the summer where whether it's at a winery or somewhere else, they have these cheese towers that you just go into and you slice off a little piece and off you go. It's a really cool way to present a multitude of cheeses, and it looks kind of like a tiered wedding cake when you finish it off.
Yeah.
So
now I would sell this as a package, like on a menu or for a catering wedding. I would put this on your menu as an offering. This is cool. This is better than a cake.
So this is good old Pacific Rock back again. And I'm just placing it down on a bed of rosemary and it's on a cake stand so that you get the tiered effect.
Yeah, I like the height. I like the height. It's the old pizza way. Remember, pizzas used to come in those trays.
Yep. And then we go to La Savagine. This is a wonderful cheese, one of my favorites. It's one that'll get your nose working. It's one of those washed rind cheeses, so it does have.
Okay, what's that? I don't know what that is. What? Tell me more about that. What is that, chef?
Well, the stinky cheese.
Okay.
Cheese. It's that.
Yeah, but you said washed. You said something washed.
Oh,
what do you mean?
Yeah. So basically, the cheese, when it's in its curing step, it'll be dunked into a culture. All cheeses are treated with different cultures, and that's what gives them the different colors and flavors. In the case of La Savagine, it's dunked into that culture as it's aging, and then it's brushed on several times throughout the process, and that bacterial culture ripens the outside of the cheese on the rind, and gives it that unique color. It also imparts a tremendous nutty flavor into the cheese. It also gives it that stink. But that's something I live with. And then
now, Rocco, I was going to ask Rocco a question here. Are these French cheeses? Would these be classified in that? Because there's a lot of
No,
French.
no.
Where are they?
Well, they are Canadian cheeses. So
maybe
the influence is from French. From France, or it could be from other parts of the world. But these are all domestic products. These are all products that we produce with Canadian milk.
So there's another no-brainer for your menu. You're supporting Canada, Canadian flavors, award-winning. Okay, I'm sold. I love it. I love it.
One of these. So this has happened probably, I want to say, at least 5 to 7 years ago. That someone had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to do a wedding cake, but I don't want a traditional wedding cake. I want a cheesecake, but not cheesecake as you would think as a dessert, an actual cake made out of cheese."
It's friendly.
I love it.
And so they basically, we kind of took the look of all. So you can see the Sauvagine, a little bit of a beige hue to it, but products like the Lady Laurier that is Snow White, the Brie Bonaparte Snow White, and then there was other Bries and other products that were also done with that Snow White. So you kind of got that look of a nice white wedding cake in terms of the visual. Then dressed up just as Chef Chris is doing with contrasting colors that really stood out. Basically took their pictures with it and then took it piece by piece and put it on their dessert table and offered it as kind of as part of the dessert offering.
Nice.
There we go. I don't know if you heard me there before, but it's a keto version of a cake. So if you're one of those keto people, it's low carb.
Yeah. Low carb.
Right?
I love it, dude. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's
very cool. Very cool. And then you keep putting those flowers on it. I'm gonna come to Vancouver, bring you back here. So I have a question. Why is always fruit, grapes, strawberries, and stuff like this always paired with cheese? Why is that always? Rocco or Chef?
I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those celebrated pairings that's, we've discovered decades ago that they happen to pair very well when it comes to the acidity and sweetness of those fruits with the fattiness of the cheese and the richness. Something bright and acidic to kind of cut that and offer some balance. So I would say it's just something that's always worked. So it's something we continue to work with.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you, Chef and Rocco, so much for being on the show today. I am going to put up Saputo's information here. There's your website, Saputo Foodservice Food. Too much coffee today. Saputo Foodservice.ca. Check out their website. You guys got wicked recipes and ideas and information up there. Awesome stuff. So I just can't thank you enough, Chef. I know it took a lot of work and all this different stuff in your warm city. Hello, Jeff. Back. And Rocco, thanks so much for being able to join us. I need some tech problems there, but I'm so glad you brought us some knowledge and everything around cheeses, because there's actually so much. There's got to be huge books on cheese everywhere. There's so much to know.
Yes. So there is, when you do hit the website, there is, and unfortunately we don't do the hard copy anymore, but we came out with a book on, it's called Discover Our Specialty Cheeses. And it's got an image of a napoletana pizza, like just like Fior di Latte on a pizza. But that book, I tell you, the visuals in it, the ideas. So some of them, like the mocktails that Chef Chris did, there's some ideas in the booklet, and that is something that could be downloaded from our website. It's and it is a great
really?
tool to have. On top of the videos, on top of we showed some of the unboxing videos. There's more of that on there as well. It's just a wealth of knowledge, and even if it's just something you want to learn about, like some of the cheeses that we had discussed today, there's a plethora of information on that website.
Awesome. Well, that's wicked. So make sure you go over to the website, and thanks again, Rocco, for joining us today as well. And Chef, you know what? You can I'm going to send you some knives, and you can sit and enjoy your cheese. I love that.
Always take a new knife, though. If you're willing to give me one, I'm in.
All right, cool. Well, thanks again, both of you, and to everyone else. We're back again tomorrow with the Culinary Federation. We also got so much more stuff coming ahead of us. Crazy shows. But anyways, thanks again, gentlemen, and to everyone else, have a great rest of your day, and we'll chat soon. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. All the best.